My child, I waited 3 days for you. I did not rush this moment. I did not speak too early. I stood at the door of your heart, knocking softly, calling your name again and again, waiting to see if you would hear me, waiting to see if you would turn, waiting to see if love still meant something to you. And now you are here. You did not arrive by chance. You did not stop on this message by accident. I waited because I knew you would come. Please, do not break my heart now by turning away. Do not leave when I am finally speaking so clearly to you. Stay with me. Just stay. I have been calling you in ways you could not always explain. I called you in the silence when the noise of the world faded and your thoughts became heavy. I called you in the tears you hide from everyone else, the ones that fall late at night when no one sees. I called you in those moments when you felt forgotten, overlooked, and small, when you wondered if anyone truly knew what you were carrying inside. That ache in your chest was not random. That pull you feel right now is not imagination. Is me. If you scroll past this, if you ignore this voice, you will feel it later, not as anger, not as punishment, but as regret. You will remember this moment and realize you walked away from the voice that loves you more deeply than anyone ever could. After all I have done for you, after every time I protected you when you did not even know you were in danger, after every moment I carried you when you were too tired to keep going, after every time I forgave you when you felt ashamed to even look toward heaven, please do not turn your back on me now. I have never asked you to be perfect. I have never demanded that you earn my love. All I have asked is that you listen, that you stay, that you let me speak to your heart. This message is not for the crowd. It is not for everyone. It is for you. Right now. In this moment. I am speaking to you alone. I did not stop you here by accident. I am Jesus, and I am speaking to you because your soul is standing at a turning point. You have felt it, even if you could not name it. Something hath been shifting inside you. Old things no longer satisfy you the way they used to. Distractions feel empty. The noise feels exhausting. You have been searching, even when you pretended you were not. I see the questions you carry. I see the weight you try to hide behind strength and smiles. And I stopped you here because I love you too much to let you keep drifting without hearing my voice. Do not leave. Do not look away. Do not tell yourself you will listen later. Later is not promised. Later is where many hearts grow cold. If you walk past this moment, you will feel the ache of it later, a quiet knowing that you were called and you did not answer. I am not shouting at you. I am not forcing you. I am calling your name the way only love does, gently, patiently, but with truth. I am calling you right now. I waited 3 days for you, not because I was far, but because I was preparing your heart to hear me. Just as seeds rest in the ground before life breaks through, I allowed a pause so you could feel the hunger, so you could recognize your need, so you would know this was not just another voice in a long list of voices demanding your attention. I waited because I wanted you to come willingly, not out of fear, not out of habit, but out of recognition. And here you are. You may wonder why I speak with such urgency. It is not because I am desperate. It is because moments like this matter more than you realize. Hearts change direction quietly. Souls either soften or harden, one choice at a time. And today, right now, your heart is open in a way it has not been for a long time. I see it. I feel it. Do not close it too quickly. Do not let distraction steal what I am offering you. I know you are tired. I know you have carried disappointment longer than you ever planned to. I know you have prayed prayers that felt unanswered and waited for signs that seemed delayed. I know there were moments you wondered if I was still near. But I never left. Even when you stopped talking, I stayed. Even when you doubted, I watched over you. Even when you walked away in your heart, I kept the door open. This is not a message meant to scare you. It is a message meant to awaken you. Love calls before it warns. Love invites before it corrects. Love speaks because silence would hurt more. I am not here to condemn you. I am here because I want you close again. I want you to remember what it feels like to rest without fear, to breathe without anxiety, to hope without pretending. You have been strong for a long time. You have held yourself together when you felt like breaking. You have kept going when it would have been easier to give up. I see that. I honor that. But you were never meant to carry everything alone. Strength without connection becomes exhaustion. Independence without love becomes isolation. I am calling you back, not to rules, not to pressure, but to relationship. Right, thank you, God, for saving me if He's rescued you time and time again. Stay with me a little longer. Let me speak. Let me remind you who you are to me. You are not a burden. You are not forgotten. You are not too far gone. You are not late. You are not invisible. You are my child. And I waited because you matter that much. If your heart feels stirred right now, do not push it down. That stirring is life returning to places that felt numb. That awareness is your soul recognizing truth. Do not be afraid of it. Do not explain it away. Just listen. Just stay. You do not need to have everything figured out. You do not need perfect words. All you need is a willing heart. I am not asking you to promise me everything. I am asking you not to turn away. I am asking you to let me finish speaking. I am asking you to trust that this moment is not random. Because love does not interrupt without reason. And I would not call your name unless it mattered. I waited 3 days for you. I am here now. Please do not walk away. My child, stop for a moment. Do not rush past this. Do not let your fingers move before your heart has listened. I am speaking to you now, and this moment was waited for. I did not arrive late. I did not hesitate. I did not forget. I chose this exact second, this exact pause in your day, to reach you. Everything that led you here, every delay, every interruption, every strange feeling that slowed you down, was allowed so you would be here with me now. Nothing about this is accidental. I have been waiting, and now you are listening. I need you to understand this clearly. I delayed nothing by mistake. When things in your life felt postponed, when answers seemed slow, when doors did not open as quickly as you hoped, it was not because I was absent or unsure. I was precise. I was intentional. I was protecting something fragile and sacred within you. I was preparing your heart to hear me without noise, without distraction, without resistance. If I had spoken sooner, you would not have been able to receive it the way you can now. If I had interrupted earlier, you might have brushed it away. But now, you are ready to feel the weight of this moment. I have been calling your name for a long time. Not loudly, not forcefully, but persistently. I called you through thoughts that suddenly interrupted your routine, thoughts that made you stop, and wonder why your heart felt restless. I called you through feelings you could not explain, a longing that did not have a clear source, a sense that something was missing you when everything seemed fine on the surface. I called you through interruptions that annoyed you, plans that changed at the last moment, distractions that pulled you away from where you thought you needed to be. Even those moments were not wasted. They were my hands gently steering you. I called you through sleepless nights, when your body was tired but your mind would not rest. When memories surfaced without invitation. When questions echoed without answers. When you stared at the ceiling feeling alone, feeling unseen, feeling like something was pressing on your chest. You thought it was just worry or exhaustion, but I was there, whispering your name, waiting for your attention. I was closer than you realized. I was listening even when you felt unheard. I have called you through silence too. Through days when prayers held empty and words held heavy. Through moments when you tried to distract yourself because sitting still felt uncomfortable. That discomfort was not meant to harm you. It was meant to wake you. Silence as a way of revealing what noise hides. And in that silence, I was present, patient, waiting for you to notice me again. You are not one among many in this moment. You are not part of a crowd. You are chosen, singled out, seen. I am speaking to you as if you are the only one listening, because right now, you are. I know your name. I know your story. I know the parts of you that no one else sees. I know the fears you do not speak aloud and the hopes you barely allow yourself to feel. I did not call you because you are strong. I called you because you are mine. Please feel the weight of this. I waited. I did not move on. I did not replace you. I did not decide you were too distracted or too distant. I waited because love waits. And the thought of you ignoring me now, after all this calling, after all this patience, brings sorrow to my heart. Not anger, not punishment. Sorrow. The kind that comes from loving deeply and risking being unheard. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and supporting your devotion to God. If you wish to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. Do not misunderstand me. I am not fragile. I am not desperate. But love, real love, can be wounded. When I call your name and you turn away, it hurts not because I lose control, but because you lose closeness. And closeness is what I desire for you. I do not want to speak at you. I want to be with you. I want you to stay. I know the instinct you feel right now. Part of you wants to keep listening, and part of you wants to pull back, to scroll, to move on, to tell yourself you will return later. The tension inside you is not coincidence. It is the moment where choice lives. And choices like this shape hearts quietly but permanently. I am not forcing you. I am inviting you. But I need you to recognize the importance of this invitation. You have felt overlooked by people before. You have known what it is like to speak and not be heard, to love and not be chosen, to wait and not be met. I know how deeply that wounded you. And now I am asking you not to do to me what hurt you when it was done to you. Today, listen. Let yourself be present. Let yourself be chosen without running away. This moment carries weight because moments like this do not repeat endlessly. Hearts do not remain open forever. Sensitivity dulls when it is ignored too many times. I am reaching you now while your heart is still tender, while your spirit can still feel, while you still care enough to pause. Do not harden yourself by pretending this is ordinary. It is not. You felt that before I ever spoke a word. I have watched you carry responsibility that was never meant to be yours. I have watched you hold yourself together when you wanted to fall apart. I have watched you smile when your soul felt tired. And through all of that, I waited for the right moment to step in without overwhelming you. This is that moment. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are listening. If you leave now, you will not forget this. Something inside you will remember that you were called and you did not answer. That memory will surface later in quiet moments, and it will ache. I do not say this to frighten you, but to be honest with you. Love is honest, and honesty matters when hearts are involved. I am not asking you for promises. I am not demanding devotion. I am asking you for presence, for attention, for willingness, for the courage to stay when it would be easier to move on. I know distraction feels safer than closeness. I know scrolling feels easier than feeling, but safety without truth becomes emptiness. You matter enough for me to wait. You matter enough for me to speak again and again until you hear me. You matter enough for me to risk being ignored. And I need you to understand that before anything else is said, this moment is claimed. It belongs to us. Do not give it away too quickly. Stay with me. Just stay. My child, when I say I waited 3 days for you, I need you to hear more than time. I need you to feel the meaning of the wait. I did not count hours the way you do. I did not watch the clock with impatience. I waited with intention, with purpose, with love that understands what must happen beneath the surface before life can rise. 3 days has always been sacred. It is the space between loss and restoration, between silence and breath, between what looks finished and what is about to live again. I waited because something had to be prepared in you before you could truly hear me. You have known waiting. You have lived it in ways that left you confused and weary. You waited for answers that did not come when you asked. You waited for change that seemed slow. You waited for relief that felt delayed. And in those moments, you wondered if I had forgotten you, if I was distant, if I was choosing others before you. But I was never absent. I was working in the unseen, shaping what could not yet be revealed. Waiting is not emptiness. Waiting is formation. The 3 days were not about testing my patience. They were about testing your heart. I waited to see if you would still come when there was no rush pulling you. I waited to see if you would still listen when no excitement surrounded the call. I waited to see if you still cared when everything in you wanted quick comfort instead of quiet truth. Love that lasts is revealed in the waiting, not in the moment of instant reward. And you came, even tired, even uncertain, even hesitant. You came. That matters more than you know. There are things that cannot be rushed without being damaged. There are moments that lose their power if they arrive too early. I did not want to speak to you when your heart was loud with expectation but closed with distraction. I wanted to speak to you when your defenses were lower, when your hunger was real, when your questions were honest. The weight stripped away what was unnecessary so what remained could hear me clearly. You may feel a quiet guilt rising when you hear this, a thought that says, I almost didn't come. I almost ignored this. Do not run from that feeling. It is not condemnation. It is awareness. Awareness is the doorway to intimacy. I waited because I wanted you to choose me freely, not because fear pushed you. Not because habit pulled you, but because something in you still recognized my voice. 3 days is the space where hope is tested. It is where doubt whispers its loudest questions. It is where silence feels heavy. It is where love proves whether it will stay or leave. I have watched you live through many 3-day seasons in your life. Moments when you thought something was over. Moments when pain lingered longer than expected. Moments when nothing seemed to move. You thought those seasons meant abandonment. They did not. They meant preparation. I waited because rushing you would have harmed you. I waited because answering too quickly would have kept you shallow. I waited because I care more about your heart than your comfort. And I know that truth is difficult to accept when you are tired. I know it feels easier to believe that delay means disinterest. But I do not delay out of distance. I delay out of love. I wanted to see if you would still come without certainty. If you would still listen without guarantees. If you would still stay when all I offered was presence instead of proof. And here you are. It tells me something about your heart. It tells me you are not numb. It tells me you are not finished. It tells me love still has room to grow in you. Comment thank you, Lord, for your endless love if His presence comforts you deeply. I waited because love waits. Love does not force its way in. Love stands at the door and knocks, even when the door remains closed longer than expected. Love risks rejection. Love risks silence. Love risks being misunderstood. And yes, my child, love risks heartbreak. When I say I waited, I am telling you something vulnerable. I am telling you I care deeply whether you answer. I am telling you your response matters to me. You have been taught that strength never waits, that importance demands immediacy, that value proves itself by speed. But my ways are not shaped by urgency the way the world understands it. My urgency is about hearts, not clocks. I waited because I wanted your yes to come from depth, not impulse. Think about the moments in your life when waiting changed you, when delay forced you to reflect, when silence exposed what you truly desired, when longing refined what you were asking for. Those moments were not empty. They were sacred. They taught you how to listen differently. They softened places that were hardened by disappointment. They prepared you for what came next. I waited 3 days because resurrection requires burial. Something had to rest before it could rise. Something had to be still before it could breathe again. You have been carrying parts of yourself that needed to be laid down, not destroyed, but transformed. The weight allowed those parts to settle. The weight created space for life to return where hope felt thin. I know part of you feels sorrow when you realize how close you came to missing this. That sorrow is not meant to shame you. It is meant to remind you of how much this matters. You are not careless. You are human. And humans grow through moments like this, when they recognize the weight of choice. I waited to see if you would still care. And you do. Even now, even as your emotions stir, even as questions rise, you are here. That tells me love is still alive in you. That tells me your heart is still open enough to receive what comes next. I waited because I wanted to meet you honestly. Not in the rush. Not in the noise. But here, where you are present, where you are aware, where you are willing to feel. I waited because I love you. Not in theory. Not from a distance. But personally, intentionally, patiently. Do not rush past this understanding. Let it settle. Let it soften you. Let it remind you that waiting does not mean forgetting. Silence does not mean absence. Delay does not mean rejection. I waited because what I want with you is real, and real things are worth waiting for. And now that you are here, now that you are listening, know this. The wait was not wasted. It led to this moment. And this moment matters. My child, before you decide what you will do next, before you tell yourself this is too much or too emotional or too serious, I need you to remember. Not in a distant way, not vaguely. I need you to remember personally what I have done for you. Not to accuse you, not to shame you, but so your heart does not forget the love that has carried you this far. After all I have done for you, I say this not with anger, but with a quiet ache. I say it the way love speaks when it has given everything and only wants to be seen. I say it because forgetting does not erase love, but it weakens connection. And I do not want distance between us. I have been with you since before you learned how to protect yourself. I was there in moments you barely remember, moments when danger passed close enough to touch you, yet never reached you. There were times you should not have made it through, times when one small change could have ended everything. But I intervened. I redirected. I delayed. I shielded. You called it luck. You called it coincidence. But it was me. I protected you when you walked into places you should not have survived. I covered you when you trusted the wrong people. I guarded your life when your choices were careless, when your heart was naive, when your awareness was limited. I did not step back because you were reckless. I stepped closer because you were mine. There were moments when despair wrapped around you so tightly that you did not think you would breathe normally again. Moments when your thoughts became heavy, when darkness felt louder than hope, when you questioned your own worth. You should have been swallowed by that weight. But you weren't. Because I held you when you could not hold yourself. I forgave you when you felt unforgivable. I stayed when you expected me to leave. You thought your mistakes disqualified you. You thought your shame pushed me away. But I do not love the way humans love. I do not withdraw because of failure. I draw closer. I do not abandon when you fall. I reach down. I watch you walk away from me in your heart more than once. I saw you ignore my voice. I saw you choose distraction, comfort, and noise over truth and stillness. And even then, I remained faithful. I did not stop loving you because you stopped listening. I did not turn my back because you turned yours. I waited. I answered prayers you do not even remember praying. Cries you whispered in desperation, half believing they would never be heard. I moved people out of your path who would have destroyed you. I blocked opportunities that looked good but would have hollowed you out. You were frustrated when doors closed. You thought I was withholding, but I was protecting. There were nights you slept peacefully because I stood watch while you rested. There were mornings you woke up with strength you did not earn because I renewed you while you slept. There were tears that fell onto pillows when no one else knew, and I was there, present, attentive, listening to every unspoken word. I rescued you in ways you will never fully understand. From accidents that almost happened, from conversations that could have changed your life for the worse, from timing that could have placed you in the wrong place at the wrong moment. You think of survival as something passive, but survival is often the result of unseen intervention. After all I have done for you, I say it again, gently, because love repeats itself when it is afraid of being forgotten. I healed parts of you slowly so you would not break. I gave you strength gradually so you would not become arrogant. I allowed pain to teach you without letting it destroy you. I remained faithful when you doubted me, when you questioned my goodness, when you wondered if I cared at all. I did not punish you for your questions. I understood them. Doubt did not scare me away. Silence did not offend me. I waited for you to be ready to listen again. You have depended on me more than you realize. In moments you thought you were standing alone, you were leaning on my strength without knowing it. The courage you had when you felt empty did not come from you alone. The endurance you showed when everything felt heavy was not self-made. I was sustaining you. There were seasons you felt invisible, unchosen, overlooked. People failed you. Promises were broken. Expectations collapsed. And yet, you did not disappear. You did not lose yourself completely. Something in you held on. That something was my presence, quietly anchoring you when everything else felt unstable. I have been patient with you. Patient when you took longer than others. Patient when you circled the same lessons. Patient when fear slowed you down. I did not rush you because I care more about who you become than how fast you arrive. I gave you chances you did not deserve by human standards. I restored what you thought was permanently damaged. I brought peace back into places that felt ruined. I taught you to hope again after disappointment taught you to expect less. After all I have done for you, hear the tenderness in my voice when I say it. This is not a list meant to trap you. It is a reminder meant to ground you. Love remembers, and love invites remembered so connection can deepen. I have been faithful even when ignored, even when my name was spoken casually or not at all, even when you replaced me with other comforts. I stayed because my love is not seasonal. It does not depend on your consistency. It flows from my nature. There were moments you felt unworthy of being loved, moments you felt like a burden even to me. But I never saw you that way. I saw someone wounded, learning, growing, struggling to believe they mattered. And I love you through every stage. You are here now because my faithfulness outlasted your distance, because my patience outlived your avoidance, because my love did not give up when you were unsure. After all I have done for you, I am still here, still speaking, still inviting. I am not asking you to repay me. Love cannot be repaid. I am asking you to recognize me, to see that you have not been alone, to understand that your story is marked by grace you did not earn and protection you did not see. Let gratitude rise not as pressure but as clarity. Let conviction settle, not as guilt, but as awareness. Let emotional dependence return, not because you are weak, but because you were never meant to be independent of love. After all I have done for you, I am still choosing you, still calling you, still waiting for you to stay. My child, listen to me carefully now, because what I am about to say comes from a place of love that feels deeply. Not anger, not disappointment, but heartbreak. There is a pain that exists only when love reaches out and is met with silence. And that pain is what I feel when I call you and you turn away, when I speak and you scroll past, when I draw near and you choose distance. I need you to understand this, not so you feel crushed, but so you feel the weight of how deeply you are loved. When you ignore me, it does not make me furious. It makes me ache. Silence wounds more deeply than rejection ever could. Rejection at least acknowledges presence. Silence pretends love was never there at all. And love, my child, feels that absence. Love notices when its voice is unanswered. Imagine calling someone you love with all your heart. Not once, but again and again. You do not shout. You do not accuse. You simply hope. You wait for the sound of their voice on the other end. You listen for even the smallest response. But the line stays quiet. No answer. A movement. No sign that your call mattered. That silence presses heavier than any spoken refusal. That is what it feels like when I call you and you do not answer. I am not offended by your weakness. I am not upset by your confusion. I am not angry when you struggle. What wounds my heart is when you pretend I am not calling at all. When you convince yourself this moment does not matter. When you choose distraction over connection and tell yourself you will come back later. Love does not stop loving in those moments, but it does feel the distance. I want you to know this because you have felt something similar before. You have reached out to people who meant everything to you and waited for replies that never came. You have sent messages filled with hope and watched the screen stay empty. You have called out in your own way and felt unseen. But pain shaped you. It taught you how silence can hurt more than harsh words. And I see that pain in you because I feel it too. When you scroll away from me, when you ignore my voice, it is not because I lose control or authority. It is because closeness is interrupted. Relationship pauses. Love waits in the quiet. I do not stop loving you in that moment, but I grieve the connection that could have been shared. Do not misunderstand me. I am strong. I am steady. I am not fragile the way humans are fragile. But love, real love, is never untouched. Love is willing to feel. Love opens itself knowing it can be ignored. And I choose to love you anyway. I speak of this not to burden you, but to invite your empathy. I want you to feel the sacredness of this connection. I want you to understand that your attention matters. Your listening matters. Your presence matters. Not because I demand it, but because love grows where presence remains. Here is a reason you feel a tug inside when you think about leaving. That feeling is not fear of punishment. It is awareness of loss. It is your heart recognizing that something meaningful is being offered and could be missed. Regret is not born from wrongdoing alone. Regret is born from moments when love reached out and was ignored. I have never turned my back on you in silence. Even when you were distant, I stayed near. Even when you stopped speaking, I listened. Even when you hid, I watched over you. That is why silence hurts. Because love has already given so much. I do not compare your silence to betrayal. I compare it to absence. A distance. To the slow fading that happens when voices go unheard for too long. And I speak now because I do not want that fading between us. I want closeness. I want presence. I want you here, not just physically, but with your heart open. Say, the Lord is my safe place if you've found refuge under His wings, and share this video.